had a very Rogue-filled week. I had the Nissan Rogue Rock Creek trim that I drove from Chicago up to South Bend to do some off-roading. Now I am in the Platinum trim, which I drove from South Bend back to Chicago. So because I have more of a full Rogue trip video on the Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk channel, I'm going to send you there for that. What I want to do in this video is, well, a tech check. So we're going to look at what I see as a driver behind the wheel, and we're definitely going to talk a little bit about the hands-free ProPILOT Assist system. So let's take a look at this week's car du jour 2025 Rogue Platinum trim. First things first, let's point out that this does have wireless Apple CarPlay with the larger infotainment screen and wireless charging. You also have this large digital display back here, which if you press this, you do have the opportunity to change how it looks. Now, it's not a huge difference and you don't have a lot of customizability, but you do have the ability to change your view a little bit. So, personal preference, whatever you choose. Actually, you know what? I kind of like that one better. So we're just going to leave it there. But then in terms of what's in your center display, you have the opportunity to scroll through your settings, your driver assist, your trip computer, and some things like that. And then if you notice at the left side where you see the dots, hey, look at that. I can actually see my navigation screen back there. It's not huge, but it's a navigation screen. So I really like that. So as you just kind of scroll through, well, we'll leave the change meter for here for now, but as you, kind of scroll through some of the different things you can see, let's see, there's a dot here. What does this show? Okay, so yeah, speed limit signs, that kind of stuff. So again, scroll through, scroll up, scroll down. It gives you options. I like that. All right. So what else do we want to talk about in terms of what's going on here? This does have the dual automatic climate controls, and you have heated seats in the front. You've got a heated steering wheel, and you have USB-C charge ports. So I do want to bring my husband into this a little bit. He's not in the car with me at the moment, so and he'll probably never watch this video. So I'm gonna paraphrase him. But there are a couple of things that he didn't like, and he's a little bit older than I am, and he hated the fact that you needed a USB-C cord, so USB-C to USB-C cord to charge his phone. There are no USB-A ports in this vehicle anymore. He didn't like that. I'm going to say just go buy new cords, dude. And the other thing that he didn't really like was the dual automatic climate control. Now, I have turned my temperature down, but when I had it up, initially it was a little bit cold, and I had it at like 85, I'll be honest. And he kept turning it down, and he kept feeling my heat. And I don't like, I should say, air blowing on my face. So I like to put the temperature and the climate control so they're pointing down at your feet. Well, the problem with that in this vehicle is this right here. You have this little pass-through area with this floating console, and what would happen is my heat would kind of flow through that over to his side, and that did not make him very happy. So I generally like climate controls, dual automatic climate controls, and I typically call them marriage-saving features. But in this instance, yeah, it really wasn't, because of this pass-through. Like, he didn't get the benefit of having the cooler air stay on his side. So yeah, we drove with the window down a little bit because he was too hot. Because this is the Platinum trim, you do also have another marriage-saving feature, which is the memory seats for the driver's seat. So you can have up to 2 drivers. And now I actually want to talk about the camera, because this is actually a really good one. Nissan has done a great job with the camera on this trim. And you have the around view camera here with the, this is a front camera because I've got it in park right now and I just hit the camera button. But I really like the clarity and the visibility of the camera. I like the dynamic guidelines. So as I move the steering wheel, the lines change, so you get a really good trajectory of where the wheel is going. You do have the red lines here that show how close you are to the vehicle in front of you or behind you, and I definitely like that a lot as well. Then you can change the view with these buttons here. It gives you some options in terms of what you're looking at, which can be really nice if you are in a parallel parking situation and you can see the other cars coming at you really well. But this is also really cool. And we've seen this on Toyota vehicles before where, you know, you can kind of hit the buttons and you can get a really good view. I mean, okay, this looks really skewed in terms of the size proportion because, yeah, our GTI is behind it and it's not bigger than this vehicle. But there you go. So but I do like that you can see how close you are to the curb. You have a really good view. I'm parked on a speed bump of the things around. So I really, really like this camera, and I think they've done a good job with it. Now, typically what happens is, well, X out of this at the moment. So when I put the vehicle into reverse, automatically the camera is going to pop on here, and you've got your around view and you've got your backup. And then when you go to drive, I like the delay and that it will switch so that it shows you the front. These situations are really good in a city environment because you're parallel parking, you're doing tight turns, and you're going reverse drive to get into spaces. And I always get very annoyed when the camera shuts off when you put it into drive. So you do have a little bit of a delay here to keep the camera on when you are parallel parking or backing into your garage space. So that gets a huge thumbs up from me. Now, before we jump into the ProPILOT Assist system, I do want to talk a little bit about this right here. And, I'll show you these controls. You have this is your ProPILOT Assist button. And so when you press that, it works like regular cruise control, and it'll set your speed, when you set and then reset. So this just turns it on. Then to set it, you have to press down. And then if you hit your brake or cancel it out for any reason, then you can press it up to resume. This right here sets the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, so it's essentially to your comfort level. And it won't do it now because I'm not on the highway or it's not in operation. So let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, well. Okay, so there you go. If you look underneath the 0 miles per hour, it will show you the distance, and it gives you a really good speed, idea of like what your distance is going to be. And that's just by hitting this button here. So that's how that operates. And we're going to dig into the details, but essentially this is your level 2 hands-free driving assist system. And we've seen Super Cruise, we've seen Blue Cruise, and this is called ProPILOT Assist. All right, the next tech check item I want to look at, and this is a big one, is ProPILOT Assist. And this is like a 2.1, 1.2 system. I forget exactly what they're calling it. But this is the next level system because it allows you to go hands-free. And essentially what you need to do is when you're on a highway and the lane lines are visible, you can hit this button on the steering wheel. It's a little blue button with circles around the car, and it will set up adaptive cruise control. And when it deems that the systems and the conditions are favorable for you to take your hands off the wheel, everything turns blue and it allows you to go hands-free. Now, what's really interesting is this does have lane change assist, but it is not a hands-free lane change system. So I hit the blinker, it turned on, and it says, put your hands on the wheel and check traffic. Then it let me change the lanes, and now it's blue again, allowing me to take my hands off the wheel. So I've passed a truck on the right, and as soon as I clear the truck, it'll tell me that I can go back to the right again. And then it'll say hands on the wheel, it turns green, and it essentially does the heavy lifting for me. Well, unless I'm trying to get over faster than it wants to go because there's a car that wants to pass me. But it essentially does all the heavy lifting for you, and then it'll turn blue again. But what I think is really weird is that you have to put your hands on the wheel to change the lanes. That's even lower than the Blue Cruise system. So I still contend that Super Cruise by General Motors is the best hands-free driving system out there. It will allow you to drive hands-free. It will change lanes for you. It will automatically change lanes for you, by the way. Blue Cruise will tell you when there's a lane change. You have to turn the blinker on to initiate the lane change, but it will change the lane for you. And then you have this system, which will tell you when to change lanes, but it also makes you put your hands on the wheel to do that. So, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a really good system. I think they've done a good job with the stability and the control, because it's not like bobbling you between the lane lines. It gives you really good information about when to change lanes, but you just still have to like be touching the wheel while it's changing the lanes for you. And I think that's a little bit weird and a little bit annoying and would get a little bit old after a while. But ProPILOT Assist, the next level system, is good, but not great. All right, one more tech-ish feature to showcase is going to be this panoramic moonroof. And I do want to say I really like the fact that Nissan has very clearly given you two buttons to operate the roof. So one is for the shade and one is for the glass. However, I will tell you, you do have to do a two-press operation to get the shade and the glass open. I've tried doing long presses and holding, and it doesn't matter. This is a two press operation, but it does open really far, and you have some really good light that can be let in. Now, for the glass, in order to tilt it, you just press, and it gives you a little bit of a tilt. I mean, like a little bit of a tilt, and then you can slide it back by pressing the glass button. So it will slide that far, and then if you give it another press, yeah, it doesn't go that much further back. So it really only opens halfway. There is no way, like if I press this, it does not go back any further. But one press shut, and then you're still going to have a two press shut for your shade. While I would like the ability to have a one press operation for the shade, I'm not terribly bothered by that. Now, before we close this out, the last thing that I want to show you that I think can be a really nice tech feature is the fact that this does have the lift gate that is motion activated. So you literally just kick your foot underneath, and then you can open the lift gate. And as you can see, I've got my bags in here. My husband's already grabbed his bags and gone upstairs so I could do this video. But it also does a kick activation for the down of the lift gate as well. And it's pretty intuitive and it works pretty well. You just have to kick underneath the center line. So like if I came over here and was kicking, it wouldn't work. You just, oh, it worked over there. Interesting. So you just have to get familiar with where the kick activation is, and then it will open and close. As we are wrapping this up, I figured I would just give you one final perspective, because I have a really good driving position with this vehicle, and that is due to these power operated seats, and the seats themselves are also really comfortable. They're a little bit firm, but they are squishy in the right places, I guess I would say. They don't hit you at weird angles, and so this is actually comfortable to drive for a road trip or a rogue trip. But again, just wanted to say I have a really good, comfortable driving position. And so you can have all the tech in the world, but if you don't feel comfortable as a driver and you don't have good visibility out all the windows, it just doesn't matter. So I like the fact that this has some really good, intuitive, easy to use tech that works pretty well. And yeah, I'm also going to be comfortable driving it. So that is what I have for you this week in the Nissan Rogue Platinum trim. Thanks for sticking with me through this tech check. If you liked this video, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed already, I'm going to do a little call to action here. Please, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. I hope to see you again next time with a new car du jour.